Most people still believe buying a new car means peace of mind. New warranty, new tech, new smell, no worries. But what if I told you some of the most popular vehicles on the road today are being dumped by their owners before the honeymoon even ends? Not after years of abuse, not after the warranty expires, sometimes before the first oil change. And that is exactly what we are uncovering today. These are the cars owners cannot wait to get rid of. And if you are shopping right now, this list could save you from making a very expensive mistake. Let's start where the disappointment begins to creep in quietly before it explodes into regret. Mercedes-Benz C-Class sits at number 10, and at first glance it feels like the safest luxury choice you could make. The proportions are spot on for a modern compact sedan, stretching a little over 180 inches long with a low, planted stance that looks expensive from every angle. The design is clean and sharp, with slim LED headlights, a wide grille, and a cabin that immediately impresses. Inside, the experience feels futuristic. A large vertical center screen dominates the dashboard, paired with a fully digital instrument cluster and ambient lighting that transforms the interior at night. Most models are powered by a turbocharged 2.0-liter engine that delivers smooth, confident acceleration and a refined ride, making it feel quick enough for daily driving without ever trying too hard. On paper, it sounds perfect. Advanced driver assistance systems, adaptive cruise control, lane guidance, high-end materials, and a price that feels justifiable for the badge and technology. The problem begins after the honeymoon fades. That screen-heavy interior quickly turns from impressive to exhausting. Simple tasks require multiple taps, menus feel buried, and the car demands your attention far more than a luxury sedan should. What felt intuitive during a short test drive becomes frustrating over weeks of real use. Ownership costs add pressure early. Maintenance is not cheap. Insurance rates reflect the badge rather than the size. And sporty suspension tuning means tires wear faster than many owners expect. Even small issues feel expensive once dealer visits become routine. By the 6-month mark, many drivers realize the C-Class is not stressful because it is bad, but because it asks too much. It wants you to adapt to it, rather than quietly fitting into your life. The car still looks stunning in the driveway, but the excitement no longer outweighs the effort. That is when selling it early stops feeling like a mistake and starts feeling like relief. BMW 5 Series moves into the number 9 spot, and this is where expectations start colliding with reality. The 5 Series has always been sold as the thinking driver's luxury sedan, a car that balances comfort with performance, and from behind the wheel, it delivers on that promise immediately. The body stretches close to 200 inches long, giving it a strong, planted presence on the road, while the wide track and long wheelbase create a sense of stability that feels confident at highway speeds. Steering response is sharp and communicative, the chassis feels composed through corners, and the power delivery from its turbocharged engines is smooth, effortless, and deeply satisfying. For the first few weeks, you understand exactly why this nameplate has such a loyal following. The trouble begins when the excitement of driving meets the reality of living with it every day. Inside, the cabin is packed with technology, from large curved displays to layered menus controlling nearly every function of the car. What looks advanced quickly feels overwhelming. Simple adjustments demand attention. The interface requires memorization rather than intuition, and the car never quite lets you relax. Owners often describe a strange contradiction where they love the way the car moves but feel drained by the way it operates. Then depreciation enters the picture quietly but aggressively. The 5 Series loses value fast, shedding thousands while many owners are still discovering features they rarely use. Ownership costs stack up as well. Service intervals feel close together, and routine dealer visits come with premium pricing that makes even basic maintenance feel excessive. The 5 Series is not a bad car, far from it. It is engineered to impress, to engage, and to satisfy enthusiasts who prioritize driving feel above all else. The problem is that daily life demands ease, not constant engagement. That mismatch slowly pushes owners toward an uncomfortable realization. As brilliant as it feels on the road, it asks too much off it. And that is why so many 5 Series owners start planning their exit far earlier than they ever expected. Land Rover Discovery comes in at number 8, and it represents a vehicle stuck between luxury and adventure without fully delivering either. From the outside, it looks the part. Tall, boxy, and confident, it stretches well past 190 inches long, with an upright stance and high roofline that suggests space, strength, and serious capability. Generous ground clearance, advanced all-wheel drive systems, adjustable air suspension, and multiple terrain modes all hint that this is more than a city SUV. On paper, it promises comfort on the highway and confidence off the pavement. Step inside, and expectations start to slip. For something this large, the interior feels tighter than it should. The third row is present, but more symbolic than practical. Workable for short trips, but uncomfortable for adults. Once it is in use, cargo space shrinks fast, and even with it folded, the rear area never quite matches what buyers expect from a vehicle of this size. The cabin design looks modern, with digital screens and premium materials, but daily usability tells a different story. Controls can feel unintuitive, software responses are inconsistent, and the luxury experience requires patience instead of delivering effortlessness. On the road, the Discovery feels smooth and composed, especially at highway speeds, but fuel economy lags behind rivals, which becomes harder to ignore given the high price point. That is when the real concern appears: reliability. Many owners describe the same pattern. The first few months feel fine, then warning lights begin to show up. A service visit costs more than expected, then another follows shortly after. Confidence fades as issues feel ongoing rather than isolated. Ownership turns into anticipation, waiting for the next problem to surface. For many drivers, that is the moment when excitement gives way to calculation, and trading it in early starts to feel like the safest decision rather than a loss. Ram 1500 lands at number 7, and this one stings because it goes against everything a full-size truck is supposed to stand for. The Ram 1500 is marketed as tough, dependable, and ready for real work, with a wide stance, a long bed, and an overall length that stretches well beyond 230 inches, giving it a commanding presence on the road. It offers a comfortable cabin, a smooth ride for its size, and strong towing and payload ratings that make it look like the perfect blend of workhorse and daily driver. Step inside, and the interior feels surprisingly refined, with large touchscreens, modern infotainment, and features that rival luxury SUVs. On paper, it sounds like the ideal truck for someone who wants strength without giving up comfort. The problem is what happens after the keys are handed over. Expectations are sky high, and reality struggles to keep up. Many owners report warning lights appearing early, electrical systems behaving inconsistently, and software glitches that feel out of place in a vehicle meant to be simple and reliable. Stories continue to surface about trucks spending weeks at dealerships within the first few months of ownership, sometimes for issues that never feel fully resolved. Systems refuse to cooperate, electronics act unpredictably, and confidence drops fast when a truck designed for hard use cannot be trusted for basic daily duties. For something built to work, the lack of consistency becomes impossible to ignore. Add in high payments, rising insurance costs, and the inconvenience of repeated service visits, and frustration builds quickly. Owners do not feel like they are giving up on the truck when they sell it early. They feel like they are protecting themselves. In the end, dumping the Ram 1500 is less about disappointment and more about damage control, cutting losses before reliability concerns turn a powerful pickup into an expensive liability. Land Rover Range Rover. Evoque shows up at number 6, and this is a vehicle purchased almost entirely on emotion. The Evoque is undeniably striking. Its compact proportions, sloping roofline, short overhangs, and aggressive stance make it look more like a high-fashion concept than a practical SUV. At just over 170 inches long, it feels tight and city-friendly, with a wide body and high beltline that give it real curb appeal. People notice it, compliment it, and recognize the badge instantly. Inside, the cabin leans heavily into modern luxury, with dual digital displays, minimalist surfaces, and premium materials that photograph beautifully. On paper, it offers all-wheel drive capability, selectable terrain modes, and enough power to feel responsive in daily traffic. But living with it tells a different story. Fuel economy regularly falls short of expectations, especially considering its size, and the ride quality never fully justifies the premium price. Short wheelbase tuning can feel firm over rough pavement, and road imperfections are more noticeable than buyers anticipate. Then comes reliability, the issue that turns admiration into anxiety. Many owners describe the same emotional timeline. At first, there is excitement and pride every time it sits in the driveway. Then the first warning light appears. A dealer visit follows, more expensive than expected. Then another issue surfaces, and suddenly the reputation of the brand is no longer abstract, it is personal. Software glitches, sensor problems, and recurring repairs slowly chip away at confidence. Ownership becomes mentally exhausting, especially when service costs feel disproportionate to the problem. Late nights are spent researching lemon laws, trade-in values, and exit strategies rather than planning road trips. The Evoque never really becomes a trusted companion. It remains a beautiful object that demands attention, patience, and money. For many owners, the realization comes quickly that style alone cannot carry the experience. What started as a fashion statement turns into a financial stressor far sooner than expected. And that is why the Evoque so often leaves garages long before its owners ever plan to say goodbye. Nissan Ariya takes the number 5 spot. And this one hits differently because it was supposed to rebuild trust, not destroy it. The Ariya arrived with big expectations, positioned as a clean break from past missteps and a confident step into the electric future. Visually, it delivers. The body stretches to just under 180 inches long, with a wide stance, smooth surfaces, and a futuristic front end that looks modern without trying too hard. Inside, the cabin feels airy and minimalist, with a flat floor, a long wheelbase that creates generous legroom, and dual integrated displays that blend into the dashboard rather than shouting for attention. On paper, it sounds reassuring, a large battery pack designed to deliver well over 300 miles of range, smooth electric acceleration that feels quiet and effortless, and fast charging capability that promises to add meaningful range in minutes rather than hours. In theory, this should be an easy car to live with. In reality, it becomes a source of anxiety far too quickly. Owners report system shutdowns that happen while driving, not parked, battery percentage readings that drop dramatically without warning, and software behavior that feels inconsistent and unpredictable. The smooth electric experience buyers expected gets overshadowed by the constant question of whether the car will behave the same way tomorrow as it did today. Trust is everything in an electric vehicle, and once that trust cracks, it does not come back easily. Even small glitches feel amplified when there is no engine noise, no vibration, and no traditional feedback to fall back on. Charging confidence suffers as well, with some owners unsure whether fast charging will work as expected every time. What was meant to feel advanced instead feels unfinished. Early adopters expected calm refinement and reliability. What they got was uncertainty and mental fatigue. And when a vehicle makes you nervous instead of relaxed, the relationship is already over. That is why so many Ariyas quietly find their way back to dealer lots so early, often before owners even finish convincing friends and family that going electric was the right move. Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid takes the number 4 spot. And this one is especially painful because it fails the people who need reliability the most. The Pacifica Hybrid is marketed as the smart, responsible choice for families, combining minivan practicality with electrified efficiency. It is a large vehicle, stretching well over 200 inches long, with sliding doors, a low step-in height, and an interior designed to carry kids, gear, groceries, and everything in between. On paper, it sounds ideal. A plug-in hybrid system promises short daily drives on electric power, a quiet ride around town, and fuel savings that make long-term ownership seem sensible. Inside, there is generous seating space across multiple rows, a flexible cargo area when seats are folded, and family-focused tech like rear entertainment options and advanced safety systems meant to protect precious cargo. But real ownership tells a far darker story. Many families report hybrid system failures that shut the vehicle down without warning, electrical issues that disable basic functions, and software problems that leave the van completely unusable. Some owners describe pulling out of driveways or stopping at traffic lights only to have the vehicle refuse to move again. Repair delays stretch on for weeks, sometimes longer, as parts remain unavailable and dealers struggle to diagnose or permanently fix the problem. During that time, families are left scrambling, juggling school drop-offs, work commutes, and daily responsibilities without reliable transportation. The stress compounds quickly when payments continue, but the van sits parked, lifeless. For a vehicle built around trust and daily dependability, that kind of failure feels unforgivable. This is not a weekend toy or a luxury indulgence. This is supposed to be the backbone of family life. When it breaks, everything breaks with it. Confidence disappears fast. Patience runs out even faster. And many owners decide they cannot afford to wait for a second chance. Selling it early becomes less about frustration and more about survival, an effort to regain stability, before one more breakdown turns everyday life into chaos. Mercedes-Benz GLB takes the number 3 position, and this is where expectations quietly fall apart. The GLB is sold as the practical Mercedes, the smart entry point for buyers who want space, versatility, and a premium badge without stepping into full-size luxury pricing. From the outside, it plays the role well. The boxy shape, upright roofline, and squared-off proportions suggest efficiency and roominess, giving the impression that it punches above its size. It looks like a small SUV that figured out how to cheat the laws of space. Step inside, and that illusion starts to weaken. Despite the tall roof and long profile, the interior feels tighter than buyers expect, especially once real life sets in. The optional third row exists, but it quickly becomes a source of frustration. It is usable in emergencies, but cramped for adults and uncomfortable for extended trips. When that third row is in place, cargo space nearly disappears, forcing owners to choose between passengers and practicality. Even with it folded, the load area requires careful planning rather than casual use. The cabin itself carries the Mercedes look and feel with digital displays, modern lighting, and upscale materials, but road noise is more noticeable than expected, and ride quality can feel firm over rough pavement. Ownership costs are where the GLB delivers its biggest surprise. First-time luxury buyers are often unprepared for how quickly expenses add up. Insurance rates reflect the badge, not the size. Maintenance costs feel premium from the start. Routine service visits come with pricing that reminds owners this is not an entry-level commitment. Even if the vehicle itself is physically smaller, fuel economy rarely offsets those costs enough to soften the blow. Over time, the realization sets in that the GLB is not a budget-friendly way into the brand. It is a full-price luxury experience packaged in a compact form. Once the excitement of the badge fades and daily compromises become routine, the numbers stop making sense. That is when many owners realize practicality was promised, but compromise was delivered, and walking away early feels smarter than forcing the relationship to work. Volkswagen ID.4 sits at number 2, and it represents what happens when big ambition reaches the market before the details are fully sorted out. The ID.4 was designed to be Volkswagen's friendly mainstream electric SUV, something practical, calm, and easy to trust for everyday life. In many ways, the foundation is solid. Its compact SUV footprint, long wheelbase, and flat floor create a cabin that feels open and functional, with generous rear legroom and a cargo area that works well for families, commuting, and weekend errands. The exterior styling is clean and approachable rather than radical, clearly aimed at buyers who want electric power without drawing attention, while the interior leans minimalist, replacing traditional buttons with digital screens and touch-based controls meant to simplify everything. When the car behaves as intended, the driving experience is smooth, quiet, and relaxing, especially in stop-and-go traffic where electric power feels effortless and refined. The problem is that consistency never truly arrives. Owners report a steady stream of recalls, software glitches, and electrical issues that slowly erode confidence. Infotainment systems freeze or reboot without warning, driver assistance features shut off unexpectedly, and charging sessions sometimes fail or end early for reasons no one can clearly explain. Some drivers describe moments when the vehicle feels unresponsive despite having plenty of battery remaining, which is deeply unsettling in an electric car. What frustrates owners most is the lingering sense that the ID.4 feels unfinished, as if ongoing updates are part of development rather than refinement. Over time, that uncertainty becomes mentally exhausting. Trust fades, and once it does, range figures, efficiency, and interior space stop mattering. Instead of feeling reassured, owners find themselves constantly watching for the next glitch. For many, walking away feels safer than continuing to gamble on software updates and promises of future improvement. Land Rover Discovery. Sport takes the #1 spot as the clearest example of early regret. This is not a vehicle owners slowly fall out of love with. It is one they rush to escape. The Discovery Sport was meant to be an accessible entry into the Land Rover brand, blending premium styling with everyday usability and light off-road appeal. Instead, it feels like a product that failed to keep up with a fast-moving segment. The exterior design now looks dated next to newer rivals, and the interior reinforces that impression. The cabin layout feels old, the infotainment system responds slowly, and the technology falls behind competitors that offer smoother, more intuitive interfaces. Materials appear upscale at first glance, but daily use exposes inconsistencies that do not justify the price. On the road, the experience never fully settles. The ride can feel unsettled over uneven pavement, road noise creeps into the cabin, and fuel efficiency trails behind expectations for a compact luxury SUV. Yet none of this alone explains the mass exodus. The real issue is reliability. Owners describe a familiar pattern. The first months feel fine, even optimistic. Then warning lights appear, sensors fail, software glitches begin. Minor problems turn into repeated dealer visits, each one expensive, time-consuming, and rarely final. The dealer experience often worsens the situation, with long wait times and unclear fixes that fail to restore confidence. Ownership shifts from enjoyment to management. Eventually, the realization becomes unavoidable. For the premium price paid, the Discovery Sport loses on reliability, features, efficiency, and peace of mind. Competitors offer better technology, stronger resale value, and fewer headaches, often for less money. What starts as disappointment turns into urgency. This is not a routine trade-in, it is abandonment. Owners are not upgrading, they are escaping before frustration becomes lasting financial damage. The pattern across all 10 of these vehicles is impossible to ignore. High prices do not guarantee high satisfaction. New technology does not always mean better experiences. And the real cost of ownership often reveals itself only after the excitement fades. Learn from the people who already paid the price. Because in today's market, the most dangerous mistake is assuming new automatically means safe.